9:30.
Okay.
Well, these are the,
All right, we're going to call this meeting to order. Please join me in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming. I just want to remind everyone, our mission is to encourage everyone to see and be their personal best through successful learning experiences. Become your best. Item 4, I need the adoption of the agenda and consent agenda as an order of business with identification of items to be taken off the consent agenda for discussion or separate action. Need a motion?
Make a motion to accept the agenda.
Second.
All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Item 5, consider approval of the consent agenda as adopted. Approve minutes of the June 20th, 2023 regular Board of Education meeting. Approve the financial report for the period of July 1, 2022 through June 30th, 2023, and approve bills for the period of June 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2023 in the amount of $2,433,687. Is that date right? Approved financial report period July 1? No, it's June 1, isn't it? June 1.
Says June 1.
What's that?
2022, it
Item B.
says.
Yeah, item B.
Oh, item B.
It's, is that right?
Yes.
Financial.
Yep, makes it a full year.
Oh, a full year. Oh, yeah. Thanks. Just checking. You know, for a minute, it was like, it just seemed odd.
Make a motion, we accept the consent
Thank you.
agenda.
All right, all in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? All right. Board District Leadership Strategic Planning, Academic Pillar of Excellence, Stan.
Yes, the first thing is we need an action step for this part, the adoption of the academic standards. We discussed this at the Committee of the Whole, and again, for the public, since 2015, in Wisconsin, Act 55 requires that districts adopt standards for all the educational goals in the year, and those are in math, science, reading, writing, and social studies, which also include geography and history. And for those, we use the Wisconsin state standards, but they're also supported by the ACT College and Career Readiness Standards. Talked about it at the Committee of the Whole, and we just need to approve that tonight.
All right, so I need a motion to adopt the 2023-2024 academic standards as outlined by Mr. Mello.
So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? All right. And then we need to consider approval of proposed revisions, the 2022-2023 high school orange guide for the 2023-2024 school year. Principal Brandel is not here.
He's not able to make it, so I'll pinch it for him.
You're going to pinch it?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, pinch away.
We did discuss this also at the Committee of the Whole. A couple of changes for the Orange Guide, which is for the public, the basic rules of operation for the high school. And a few different things related to community service. It's a newer requirement in our school, but just some updates about that. Some guidelines about foreign exchange students, and some things about the fact that we're having free lunch next year, and a few other things about work permits, which are no... Free, did I say lunch?
You said lunch.
Free? There's no free lunch
was
anymore. There's no free lunch.
There's no free lunch.
You see Amy's face?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Now looking for a new finance?
And work permits are no longer done here. It's done online in the state. So some of these things are just updates from...
For discussions of the
Yes.
committee of the whole.
Yep.
All right. So we need a motion for approval?
I move we approve the revisions to the 2022-2023 high school orange guide for 2023-2024 school year.
Second?
Any other discussion, questions for Dan, the pinch hitter? All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? All right. Financial pillar of excellence. Amy, you're on.
I am. So we talked about this as a committee of the whole. I can quickly review. We are just striking out language that is not applicable anymore for snow days and inclement weather days and our health and wellness incentive program. Some of the financial aspects of that we are taking out. So those are the things that we're looking to be approved.
All right. So we need a motion to approve the additional changes to 2023-2024 teacher framework as outlined and discussed in committee of the whole.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? All right. And Amy?
Support staff is the exact same as the teacher.
So we will need a motion to approve the student, or the support staff changes and updates.
So moved.
I'll second then.
All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? All right, on to item 7, Finance, Buildings, and Grounds. Discuss and consider approval of the preliminary budget for the 2023-2024 school year. Amy, you're on again.
Yes. Okay. So we talked at the committee of the whole a little bit about how we think we're going to end this current school year. So this is just a recap of that. We think we'll end the year with about $100,000 being added to our fund balance. But just a reminder that I won't have that exact number until after our audit in August. But we can move on to this coming school year. So on July 5th, Governor Evers signed the biennial state budget. The main focus points that affect our budget are that every school district will receive $325 increase in per pupil revenue. The ability for low revenue ceiling, low spending districts to raise their revenue limit to $11,000 per pupil from $10,000 per pupil. We are one of those low spending districts. We've always had our revenue ceiling at $10,000 per pupil. So it's an additional $675 per pupil revenue. That's going to be by way of tax levy from what I understand right now. We're still waiting for more information, a better breakdown of how it's going to apply, but that's what I think is going to happen. Special education aid was increased to 33.3% reimbursement from the current 30%. It's great to have an increase, but that's nowhere near what the proposal of 60% was. So although it will help, it doesn't even cover what most districts are experiencing in their special ed increased costs. Private school voucher aid is going to increase, but I don't have any information on how much it's going to increase right now. So when we wrap all of those things together and I just kind of start plugging all of those in, what does our budget look like for next year? Right now, we're projected to have a $345,000 deficit. And how did we get to that? So we added in the $325 per pupil revenue, along with the additional $675 per pupil revenue by tax levy. The additional $675 will be recommended for board approval in the upcoming months. Putting these two together will increase our revenue limit by approximately $1.5 million. Without the approval of the additional $675 per pupil revenue by way of tax levy, we will face a severe fiscal cliff. last year, before ESSER funds and before we made adjustments to everything, we had like I think it was $1.5 million deficit. So this increase is helpful, but it basically almost breaks us even. If we do not get the approval for the 675, then we will probably only be adding about 700,000 to our budget, which would mean we would have a deficit of around $1 million. We increased salaries 4% this year. We had a health insurance increase of 6.72%. We removed building subs to reduce that expense. Due to low enrollment, we talked about this in a past meeting, we paused our relationship with Growing Generations / Head Start and incorporated those students into our current 4K classes. You may remember we have a partnership with Growing Generations, and we pay for certain students, students that enroll there to attend there. But this coming school year, there were only, I think, 5. And our 4K numbers are low enough that we could encompass those kids into our 4K classes at Horizon. So we were able to remove that expense from this current budget and have those kids attend our 4K classes. We added 1 additional full-time special education teacher at Riverview Middle School. Our special education costs are going to increase around $300,000 this year. That is our new teacher and our salary and benefit increases. And that's in addition to the $500,000 increase last year that is continuing into this budget. We hired, I think, 3 special ed teachers last year, and we are continuing with those this coming school year. We added a full-time social worker position for this school year. We changed the part-time custodian position at Horizon to a full-time position, just due to need. We added 60% occupational therapist costs back into our budget that had been shared with and paid by Kiel School District. Our needs this coming year require us to staff this position full-time. So this staff member is a full-time teacher. She would spend 40% of her time in our district and 60% at Kiel, and Kiel would reimburse us that 60%. That's not happening this coming school year, so that 60% was added to our current budget. We are reinstating pay to teachers who staff sub in classrooms. This was a benefit that was removed at the end of the 2010-11 school year. It's been a request for many years by the PEA union members. We're hoping that this helps reduce our sub-teacher costs and helps us have our teachers cover in classrooms. Like I said before, private school vouchers are set to increase. I'm still waiting for more information on that. And we added $200,000 to this budget for the chiller project. We've talked about that. It's still in the works, but originally we had said it was going to come from fund balance, but as I was working through this budget, realized that we could add it in and we would be okay. So we will not be taking anything from fund balance to cover the cost of the chiller project. So when you put all of that together and add in all the new revenue, the way I think it's going to happen, add in all of these changes, the net result is right now a deficit of $345,000. But just keep in mind that about $200,000 of that is the chiller project. So what about ESSER funds? Plymouth School District is one of the very few districts that has managed ESSER funds in a way that's kept us from exhausting the funds before the program closes. This is the last school year that you can make claims and that you can utilize and be reimbursed with ESSER funds. And we still have, much to the surprise of many people at DPI, we still have quite a bit left in our ESSER 3. So this current budget does not include the approximate $900,000 in ESSER. We wanted to have a budget that would mimic what it would be if we did not have ESSER. So this gives us a great idea of what position we're in without that even being an option. So we are working on a plan to use the funds in a way to enhance our employees' experience at Plymouth School District. We want to revisit some suggestions by staff members and uphold the agreement that we had to meet with the PEA union reps once the state budget was in place. Again, these are gonna be, they're one-time funds, so we're trying to look at what can we do one time that can either, help our employees, raise morale, meet some needs, whatever we can do that will have a positive impact. Because we don't need to have these ESSER funds in the budget to balance the budget. As long as the $675 per pupil is approved. So as we finalize the plan with ESSER funds, we'll continue to update the board with details. But just know that this budget does not have the ESSER funds in them. But we won't leave them sit there. So here's our projected budget in a nutshell. Our projected revenue is $34,222,000. Our projected expenses are $34,567,000. That gets us our projected deficit. Can this information change? Yes, and it absolutely will. Final aid numbers, tax levy information, and information related to the state budget and how it's going to impact things, we don't have yet. I haven't received anything from DPI in the revenue limit worksheet that absolutely tells me where everything is going to fall. So everything right now is a guess. Open enrollment information is going to change. Benefit elections from staff are going to change. Voucher information is still not yet updated. And summer school final expenses are not all in the budget yet either. So those will all have an impact on what the final number is. What will we continue to do? Closely monitor the information from the state regarding any changes with the state budget, the revenue stream, our sources of revenue, how it's going to affect us. Evaluate staffing needs, monitor actual summer school costs, and monitor our enrollment changes. And then looking ahead, the information we currently have projects that the district is going to avoid the fiscal cliff. We will continue to conservatively predict the needs for the next school year. We continue to collect data to calculate final numbers. And it's very, very, very important to remember that this is very preliminary and it's going to change in the coming months. So does anybody have any questions?
ESSER funds, I know we have to use them in the next year. Does that mean use them up by May of 2024?
I believe they have to be accounted for. There is something with, I think it's September of '24 that we have to claim them by.
Are there expectations of how we use those ESSER funds?
From DPI or the government?
Yeah.
No, they've really, really opened it up. There's things like, I mean, pretty much everything. We could do what we've done before. We could offset costs. We've done that when ESSER 1 first came out. It was very specific at first, but now it's pretty much, from retention bonuses to technology to, whatever, pretty much whatever.
But we could use a portion of that to make sure that we cut even and then use the other $555,000 to do special projects or incentives or whatnot.
Projects like we could do HVAC
Or whatever
project.
the future, like the revisiting some of the requests that maybe teachers
Yeah.
or schools had.
Yeah.
I mean, those projects.
Most of those are like benefits for employees.
Okay.
Enhancing their experience is kind of what we like to think, like what can we do to boost morale, to let our staff know that we support them, to, you know, do the most that we can possibly do with what we have. You know, we did 4% salary increases, we would have loved to do more, but given the information that we got, this is what keeps us financially stable and sound. But does it mean that we could do something else as a one-time thing? Sure. Could we attack some projects that still kind of fall into the, you know, the ESSER funds? Sure. I think the options are pretty vast.
Sure.
We have a lot of options.
Sure.
Other questions? Regarding the tax levy, if we would do nothing with the tax levy, right, so scenario, that opening to do that with the tax levy is like open for, so do we move the cliff and fall off the cliff then later? Or are we able to do the levy down the road? Or we don't know?
I believe it's available in 24, 25 also.
Okay. Right.
When I ran the numbers to do the increase, the mill rate, again, this is so preliminary, went up like 40 cents.
So it's, yeah, negligible.
It was very minimal, and our mill rate is very, very low. So,
Yep.
The maximum we could go up is $1,000 per pupil.
right,
Without referendum.
Right.
right, but the first 325, I believe, are gonna come as aid.
Okay.
So we have to
it's-
tax for the other 675, and that's optional. So we tax up to 10,000 per student, we could tax up to 11, but the minimum we would,
Would actually.
is gonna be
impact
10,325
the levy.
now. But if it's approved to go to 11, then it will be 11, and it will stay at 11 until they tell us we can go to something else.
Yeah.
So that 325 has to be removed from our $1,000, even though we're a low, what do we call it, low referendum, low
Spending.
Low spending. It's not removed. I mean, in some ways, it helps us because we're not taxing for the full 1,000.
Right, right.
Okay.
We're taxing for the other 675. The 325 is gonna come no matter what, which is why I believe it's gonna come as like aid, you know, like generalized equalized aid, something like that. The rest is discretionary if districts want to tax up to 11,000. If we don't, then we'll be,
We're gonna hit a cliff.
yeah,
That's what,
we'll have
We
some
need to be
difficult
clear on.
decisions then.
all right. Other questions for Amy? No? Well,
When do we think we'll have more ideas for the ESSER 30 funds?
I guess I would say probably by September or October. We don't want to really, you know, we want to have some time to meet with people. We want to have time to really think about what is the best route to go. And it might not be till after the annual meeting when we know if the ability to tax up to 11,000 is approved. Depends on when that is
when
done.
you're right, right.
If that's not approved, then we will not have a plan. ESSER funds will be used to offset everything for one more year.
As we talked about before too, we're beginning a employee experience committee that will be from multiple different groups in our district and talking about these kinds of issues and, you know, their experience in terms of financial, but also everything else related to being an employee in the district. So that committee, we'd like to get that rolling and have them have some say in this too. We always have met with our union groups, and the superintendent council, but this is like specifically targeted at employee experience enhancement. So if they have some time and have a few meetings in between now and then, we'll have some good clarity on what people believe is a nice move.
Like adding the staff subbing, like I touched on in there, has been requested for years, but it's a budget item that we just couldn't add without any state increases in funding. So we were able to do that this year, and hopefully it has a positive impact on all of our teaching staff and our support staff.
And the flip side of that as well, now we've eliminated the permanent sub positions
Yep.
at the schools
We eliminated all the building subs.
that we implemented during COVID, and
For the
at that
past
time
3
it
years.
was, I mean, it's been very effective so
It's helped, but it has not helped our financial budget.
it hasn't, okay,
No.
all right. That's what I needed to understand.
The increase in that cost is not sustainable.
Okay,
This is better sustainable and probably better for our students because they have their own teachers in there.
okay.
As much as they can. I mean, we're not gonna take a teacher, it's not a whole day thing. It's like for a class period so instead of having a building sub here all day going from class to class to class, now our teachers can fill in for these classes, make a little bit of extra money, and then we have a teacher in the classroom that can help students with what they need.
Right. Other questions? Okay, thank you, Amy. Finance, buildings, and grounds?
We have to.
Oh, I'm
we have to
sorry.
approve that.
Consider approval, it changes preliminary budget, consider approval of the preliminary budget for 23-24 school year, so as presented by Amy.
So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor, say yes.
Yes. Yes.
Opposed? All right, thank you, Amy. Now, we need to consider gifts and corresponding budget adjustments.
Moving on to other offsets of the budget.
Yeah.
And again, thank you to the community. People are very generous here, and they help enhance our program all the time with donations, so we're very grateful for that. First of all, we'd like to note that there is a donation of $134.78 from the Plymouth High School German Club for transportation to the Osthoff Resort. There's a donation of $1,368.20 from Plymouth High School World Language Club for transportation to Madison. A donation of $826.43 from Plymouth High School Activity Club for transportation to Fox Valley Technical College and University of Oshkosh. A donation of $231.67 from Future Farmers of America for transportation to Fisher Farms. A donation of $1,525.90 from Fairview PTO for transportation to Nourish Farm, Fisher Farm, Manitowoc Farm Discovery, Camp Waikota, Camp Anakiji, and the Milwaukee Zoo. A donation of $2,397.16 from the Riverview Middle School PTO for transportation to Sky Zone and Discovery World. A donation of $2,026.56 from Horizon Path Program for transportation to Camp Waikota, Camp Anakiji, Fisher Farm, Madison State Capitol, Bookworm Garden, Nourish, Shalom Zoo, and the Milwaukee Museum. A donation of $1,116.83 from Parkview PTK for transportation to Camp Waikota, Manitowoc Discovery, Fisher Farm, Kohler Andre State Park, Milwaukee Museum, Nourish, Vision Farm, and Sheboygan County Historical Museum. And then those will just need approval, and we'll make all the budget adjustments.
All right, I need a motion to approve these contributions and the corresponding adjustments.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? And again, thank you to the community and their generosity. We'll move on to a period of public participation. No one has signed up. And liaison reports, item 9, community ed. Sally?
Yes, there's still things happening through the community ed. There will be a nutrition and wellness class talking about wild food and medicine plants on August 24th. They have a class on composting, microgreens. They also have lap swim, rec basketball, pickleball, and a lot of different fitness classes still happening.
All right.
That's it.
Thank you, Sally. Foundation report, that's me. The foundation, we don't meet in July. However, I did find out a few things. All of our scholarship money has been handed out except for one check, I believe. So whoever you are, go get your check. Beyond that, we are working on the fundraising event, Grow Our Grants for 2023. That event will be at Devour, and right now, there's work being done to get that fundraiser in place. Looking for contributions from the community. We've already started to see some sponsors to the event, but please check out the Plymouth Foundation webpage for more information on that. Family Resource Center, Kathy.
Lots of activity going on this summer. Tiny Tots Playgroup is the second and fourth Thursdays from 10 to 11 at the Plymouth Library. Biddy Book Club is every third Thursday, 9:30 to 10:30 or 4:30 to 5:30 at the Mead Public Library. Kids Outdoor Play is July 24th from 5 to 6:30 at Generations. Bring Your Own Baby Playgroup is every third Thursday from 9:30 to 10:30 or 4:30 to 5:30 at Above and Beyond Children's Museum. And during the month of August, on Wednesdays, from 10 to 11 at the Plymouth Library, there will be Sensational Babies Infant Massage Series. So,
There you
learn
go.
how to do infant massage at the library.
There you go, all right. All right, thank you, Kathy. Personnel, Dan, you want
Yes.
to take us through that?
Yep, we have, this is hiring season, so there's lots of activity always going on with that. So I do have some that will need approval. I'll read through them all, and then we can approve at the end. So we'd like the board to consider the approval of a 100% contract for Chris Helmer to be the principal at Horizon Elementary School, beginning with the 23-24 school year. Chris has been with the school district for 9 years. The board will consider the approval of a 100% contract for Michelle Snyder to be an art teacher at Parkview, Fairview, and Horizon Elementary School, beginning with the 23-24 school year. Michelle received her bachelor's degree from Marian University and her master's degree from National Louis University. This is Michelle's 24th year of teaching. The board will consider the approval of 100% contract for Samantha Gum to be the first grade teacher at Parkview Elementary School, beginning with 23-24 school year. Samantha received her bachelor's degree from the University of Wisconsin, Oshkosh, and her master's from Marian University. This will be Samantha's first year of teaching. The board will consider the approval of a 100% contract for Jennifer Sims to be a fourth grade teacher at Fairview Elementary School, beginning with the 23-24 school year. Jennifer has a bachelor's degree from Moorhead State University and her master's from St. Mary's University. This will be Jennifer's 13th year of teaching. The board will consider the approval of a 100% contract for Brennan Ward to be a physical education teacher at Parkview Elementary School, beginning with 23-24 school year. Brennan received his bachelor's degree from the University of Wisconsin, Oshkosh, and this will be Brennan's first year of teaching. A lot of Titans in the group.
Yeah, I guess. All right. Motion to approve the contracts.
So,
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? All right, thank you very much. Nothing for the consent agenda. President's report, along with everything I talked about with the foundation, I just wanted to add the foundation, we just finished up this year, our 35th year of the foundation supporting the school system. And with this year, we did a teacher wish list, and the fund, how the wish list worked is teachers provide the wish list, and then the foundation helped facilitate with the community ways for community companies or other individuals to contribute to the wishes that teachers had laid out for the foundation. $15,000 this year given through the wish list, and $2,100 directly from the foundation, and the rest was from the community, key businesses, and just great people in this community. And it all reflects what we're so good at here in Plymouth. And it's the understanding that one of the most important things that we do as a community is this school, and this school in turn provides a great opportunity for all our kids. And it's that relationship of give and take and contribute, and it's why Plymouth schools are so strong, and it's why the Plymouth community is so strong. And I just thank you. Thank you to everyone, because it's a great place to live, and it's a great place to send your kids. So we just need more people coming here. All right, and with that, I'll go on to superintendent report.
Yes, and so we'll just start with some student and staff accomplishments, student accomplishments really here, but the staff that are helping them. Because, yeah, it's a great place to live and work, and we have something for everybody. So
There you go.
this is the time of the year in the extracurricular world where our FBLA, Future Business Leaders, and also our FFA really have their time, which is, okay, the fair is coming up, but also this is nationals season for both business leaders and for FFA. So our kids have gone already to the 2 national conventions, and they did very well. I'll just highlight a few things. So for Future Business Leaders, in June, we attended our state FFA convention. Our 3 state-winning CDE teams were recognized and will be attending the national competition in November. The Ag Mechanics, this is the FFA. The Ag Mechanics and Horse and Nursery and Landscape were all one of the recognized groups. We had 3 FFA state degree recipients, Jimmy Steiner, Joe Mugen, and Brandon Schultz. We also had Ava Bolin, who placed second in the state in her FFA proficiency of sheep production. We have 20 students who are showing in the FFA for the fair coming up, and there's just a lot of other stuff that goes on all summer long with the FFA, and very busy time for them. And we always have a lot of kids that do well statewide and nationally, so great things for them. And then for our business leaders, we had the FBLA attended the conference in Atlanta, Georgia on June 26th through the 29th. And the Plymouth FBLA chapter had 8 members competing at the conference. History was made as PHS students Claire Nelson, Grace Poppy, Allison Steiner became the first students to make it to the final round from Plymouth. They placed in the top 15 out of 78 groups. And remember, those 78 groups are very selective throughout the entire country to get there in the first place. So it's pretty awesome. We had other national participants there. Emmett Hune was doing Introduction to Business Concepts. Sophia Sohaki was doing Organizational Leadership. And Ben Harpstead and Wyatt Herzog and Neil Kramer were doing Entrepreneurship. So again, a ton of stuff going on all the time. And Todd Williams and Wendy Naskovitz do a good job with those, great job with them as well. So
That's great.
wonderful stuff. Great things to do here in the Plymouth community, tons of activities. So, and I would just like to, we've been advocating for a year. We talked about our budget, big budget night tonight. And I think I've been talking about the fiscal cliff and the impending issues that would cause the district and all districts in the state because of the freeze that was there since the beginning of COVID. And I would mention repeatedly about our advocacy with our legislators, about the need to do something to appropriately fund education in not just Plymouth, but in the state. And so I would like to thank our legislators. The primary lead on this budget deal, although there's people unhappy all around it, so it's probably a good deal, I think. I think the municipalities came out pretty, like, even better than the school districts, and they'd been hurting for quite some time. So there's a lot of sausage being made down there. But Devin Lemieux and Tony Evers, Plymouth native and on our Hall of Fame, really were the ones that hashed out the deal. And so I want to thank them for doing the work that needed to be done and keeping schools as a high priority and education as a high priority, but also using the funds that they did have to make sure there was something to go around for lots of different interests in the state. So we do a lot of complaining about the legislature and what happens in Madison, but in this case, at least for Plymouth and for most districts in the state, this is a good thing.
Did something good.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
thanks, and a little shout out to Devin Lemieux and Tony Evers. And that's my report.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Dan. All right, item 14, I need a motion to adjourn into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 19.85, 1 subsection C, to consider the employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation of public employees over which our governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. Specifically, to review the district administrator job description and approve closed minutes from the June 20th, 2023 Board of Education meeting.
So moved. Second.
Roll call?
Dan?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes?
Sally, yes. Aaron?
Yes.
Janelle? Yes. And Kathy?
Yes.